Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Friday, April 5th, 2019, 5:55 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So we're going to look at ozone today. We haven't looked at that in a while. And then I'll give you an update on what's going on my Subscribe Star page, and then we'll go over earthquakes. And I had someone ask if I was going to do methane reports anymore, and I am doing methane reports, and I'm posting them on my Subscribe Star page, and for the ones who are supporting my work over there. And so if you'd like to see the detailed methane reports that are coming out, I record them as soon as new data comes up on CAMS. And in the last 2 days I put up 3 short detailed methane videos because the information comes out at sporadic times. And you know, I've given everyone the links they can, and I've taught people how to go to these websites. They can sure check it out for themselves. But if they want a detailed report, they can certainly go over to Subscribe Star for $5 a month to support my work and to get access to everything over there, including the private videos and posts and things like that. And I'm going into a lot of different areas that I haven't talked about in a long time, or if ever. So I'd love to have you over there, and I love the platform, and we're just going to keep moving forward with that. I am finding limitations though, but I'll talk about it when we go over to that page. So first, let's look at ozone. This is ozone from CAMS, Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services. And let's go. Well, I've got it up for today. See, they've got everything current. All these other greenhouse gases are current except for methane, and they finally uploaded. The last day they've uploaded is April the 2nd, which is Tuesday. So, and carbon dioxide, same thing. Both the carbon dioxide and methane lag for whatever reason. So I've got Friday pulled up today, April 5th, and we've got the global view, and this is total column because we want to see the total Dobson units for the whole Earth. Now remember, the South Pole is beginning to go into its fall and winter season now, as the North Pole is coming into spring and summer. And so look at, you know, I was surprised with all these dark methane readings, and that's showing definitely up to 600 Dobson units. And you know, frankly, I don't know if that's normal or not. That's kind of one reason I haven't been showing ozone, but I kind of think it's not normal to have it that high. But I don't know. I mean, you know, people who know more about ozone can certainly educate us on that. But we're seeing the thinning down here in the Antarctic. We're seeing it between 240 and 260 Dobson units with this this kind of green aqua, and then this bluish aqua is 220 to 240 Dobson units. We're seeing the thinning around the mid-latitude still, and we're seeing just blotches. There are lots of holes in the ozone. So this color that I'm pointing to is 240 to 260 Dobson units. This chartreuse color is 260 to 280 Dobson units. So they say that an average of 300 Dobson units is that's what it like everything's supposed to average out to, but you know, most of the planet is not at 300, and then you have these heavy readings up in the Arctic, which I really don't understand why it's so heavy with it so cold up there, because ozone is not supposed to be created in cold temperatures. It's supposed to be created in warm temperatures. So I don't know why it's been dark brown up there over the Arctic all winter long. I've communicated with our friend Nostradamus, aka Dave Alcock from the UK, about this, and he seems to think that this is bad ozone that's gone up through the atmosphere and penetrated all the levels all the way up through the columns, and it's from toxic things that have come up through the atmosphere. So I have not found other people who say that, so I don't know. I just don't think it looks good. But I thought I'd show that to everyone, because we haven't looked at ozone in a while, and we can see that the thicker levels are coming around the South Pole now. And we saw that last year when it was winter time down there, and we saw the hole in the middle, and it got down to this blue, the 150, and down to the 125 even, the hole did. But we never saw that up in the Arctic this winter, and I was anticipating the hole to move up there, but you know, it's just, and it's not solid at all, and it's so thin in these mid-latitudes. And remember, ozone blocks out UV radiation and other things, so a healthy ozone layer will help block out solar radiation and UV radiation and different things like that. But you know, I don't know what healthy is supposed to look like at this point. I'm just showing the pictures. So there's that. So let's leave that as a backdrop now. Here we go. And now I just wanted to remind people of my new platform that I've created for us to have a safe place to come to for when censorship becomes greater and greater, and it will. And I'm going to be talking about a lot of spiritual things over here. My dreams and visions and intuitions. I'm still going to be bringing climate change news, but other news too. And what's neat about this platform is it's kind of a combo plate between Facebook and YouTube. And yes, it is a subscription base, but for $5 a month you can support my work for the cost of a latte, or you know, less than 17 cents a day, or less than a pack of cigarettes, or less than a slice of pizza and a soft drink. I mean, you know, it's not much, and I have not made any money in doing any of this reporting since I've started it. And so if you want to subscribe, you just hit the subscribe button and follow the directions. And then once you become a subscriber, if you'd like to donate more than your $5 a month, donate more to help me, that would be appreciated. Or you can send me a message and we can do private chat over here. I've got 4 subscribers right now, so I'm very grateful for them. and I've got 38 posts so far, and I wanted to show you how many of my posts are public, and I will continue putting up public posts. And one of the reasons that I'm kind of coming back on doing climate news in the videos is it takes a long time to read the articles and everything. So I'm posting the articles over here, and you're more than welcome to come over here and read the articles. I'm putting them up as public posts. Here's one about the North Island of New Zealand that's experiencing a slow slip event, a large seismic event underway off North Island's east coast, triggering a swarm of earthquakes. And then you just click on the link and it takes you right to the article. And then I'm putting links to all of my YouTube videos over here so that you can just click right there and watch it. Here's another article about thawing permafrost is triggering thousands of landslides across the Arctic. That's an interesting article. And I put my little comment above saying all of the earthquakes in Alaska are probably helping the landslides along. And if you're a subscriber, you're welcome to comment on any of these posts or give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So, and then here's the link to the article. Here's another article. Russian spy plane flies over Area 51 and other recent military bases, report says. And I said, this does not make me feel warm and fuzzy. So, here's another one. Not supposed to be able to happen. Deepest earthquake ever hits Poland, then disappears. Here's another earthquake report. Here's one. Glacier the size of Florida is on track to change the course of human civilization. That's about the Thwaites Glacier, and we've shown that in the Antarctic. So when you go to these articles, I've already shown you where all these places are, and you can you can figure it out. I don't have to read it to you and show it to you. So this is, I really like this platform. Here's one. Scientists are teaching AI-powered robots to reproduce, evolve. Brings new meaning to cybersex. And I say, oh boy, I'm sure not ready for this. And that's a very interesting article. So, and what I suggest, there's so many posts here now, and I post every day. And what I suggest is that you go to the bottom, which is the beginning, and you start with the oldest post and then come up, and then you'll be up to speed on everything. And especially if you're a subscriber, definitely do that, because you don't want to miss the private videos that I put up and private posts as well. So I love this setup, and it just is easy to use. And then you can look for other stars on here that you might want to subscribe to, and check them out. So I'm going to continue on YouTube, though. What I found, there is a limitation for the file size that I can upload on my videos over here on Subscribestar, and so my videos have to be fairly short. They have to be about 15 minutes, not much over 15 minutes. And see, I've already been talking 14 minutes. So if I were going to upload this video on Subscribestar on their platform, I would have to end it here and upload it. And we haven't even got into the earthquake report. So I'll still continue uploading longer videos on YouTube. I plan on doing a weekly climate roundup, and we'll be including Dave's or Nostradamus's methane report in that climate roundup, along with other climate news, and that will be on a public platform, and it'll either be YouTube or another public platform that I'm still kind of checking out and trying to decide on. Right now I'm considering getting a Vimeo channel and doing the longer videos over there. I'm just trying to get away from YouTube simply because I don't know, I don't trust it, and you know, the censorship that's coming. So I know that it's coming, and I feel a real urgency to have some backup channels, you know, already in place and ready to go. And I do have the BitChute channel. It's bitchute.com/Margo, our channel/Margo. And BitChute is okay, but what I found is it's hard to get any support over there if you have problems. They don't answer support questions when you email them, and it's also very hard to upload and process videos. It takes a long time. Sometimes I try and they never get uploaded. They never get processed. Sometimes it takes days for them to process them, and I need something more reliable than that. But you know, I'm using it as a backup channel right now as well. So that's kind of what's going on, and so now let's take a peek at earthquakes and see what's going on here. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. Hang on. Alright, so we have USGS pulled up here for the last 24 hours for all magnitudes, and we're showing 244 earthquakes worldwide. Oh, I forgot to get my tremors map set up. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm going to pause this. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. So we just lost an earthquake. It just came off the map. So right now it's showing 243 worldwide, all magnitudes. And of those, 31 are 2.5 magnitude and higher. So let's go down here and see what the oldest ones are. We saw this 3.3 at Old Iliamna last night. It came in as I was doing the report. Here's a 4.5 near Townsa, Pakistan, that came in since my report last night at 7:20 p.m. Pacific time. All of these times are Pacific time because that's my time zone. So it's right here on land next to this red line. So I think those are all that were immediate for me to look at. But I want to start with this big one down here in the South Atlantic. The 6.5 came in at 9:14 this morning. Originally it was a 6.6, and then they downgraded it to a 6.5. And this was near Vissacoy Island, South Georgia, and the South Sandwich Islands. 9:14 this morning, 58 kilometers deep. So you can see that this is not very far from the Antarctic, and it's not very far from the tip of South America, not very far to the western edge of this peninsula for the West Antarctic. It's not very far at all, and it's right on this line, this red line, for the Antarctic the Antarctic plate. So that was very large. I looked at the little wave when it happened, and at that point they weren't worried about any tsunamis. Let's see if they've issued any update since then. Well, here's 6.6. That was the original size. Here, 6.4. Maybe. Okay, that was. It looked like there was maybe a 6.4. They're showing just like 30 seconds before the 6.5 hit. But they're only showing one on the map. Let's look at that. Let's look at this. Nothing. Okay. Well, that's curious. Let's look at this. Oh, these were the preliminary earthquake parameters. 6.4 to 6 station average. So this was not really a tsunami report. So that was okay. And I've already read all of these. I mean, I didn't record it, but here's tsunami information for the nationals, okay, for the U.S., East Coast, Gulf of Mexico states, and Eastern Canada. There's no tsunami danger for the U.S. East Coast, etc., etc. But you know, a lot of those buoys are not operable, so I don't know if this is one in that situation or not. So it wasn't very deep, so it could cause a tsunami. So let's come on up to South America now. Here's a 4.8 near Arica, Chile at 9:58 this morning, 38 kilometers deep. And then here's a 5.8 off the coast of Ecuador, right on this red line, that happened at 11:46 this morning. Coming on up into Central America, we're seeing this 4.4 in the ocean off the coast of Acajutla, El Salvador at 2:08 this morning, and a 4.4 near Sinuapa, Honduras at 4:53 this afternoon. While we're over here, let's look at Dominican Republic, and we'll have this side finished. Dominican Republic is showing 13 here today. Most are in the ones in low 2 range. Here's a 2.5, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8. So those are lower than they were in the last few days, where they had the 3 point whatever, 3.3s and stuff. So let's go back over to our 2.5 magnitude and higher. So we've done this side. Now let's go down to the South Pacific, and we've got a 5.2 near Hihifo, Tonga at 5:40 this morning. When they show this 10-kilometer depth over and over again, that's to me a default reading when they don't know how deep it is, or they don't want us to know. So if it's just 10 kilometers, if it says straight 10 kilometers, I'm not going to say anything. Or if something's really shallow, I'll say something, or if something's really deep, I'll say something. Otherwise, I'm not going to be reporting the depths all the time. Here in Indonesia was a 4.6 near Amahai, Indonesia at 11:01 this morning. That was on land. Next, near Mayotte, this island, was a 5.0 near Pamandzi, Mayotte at 3:28 this morning, off the coast of that little island. That's volcanic there, so that's triggering. Everything is triggering each other here. Next, we have a 4.5 near Townsa, Pakistan, that came in at 7:20 last night. Next, following up around this ring of fire, we had a 5.8 near the Izu, in the Izu Islands at 2:56 this morning, 388 kilometers deep. That was very deep. Next was this 4.7 near Kawaguchi, Japan at 1:23 this morning, 65 kilometers deep. And it looks like that's in the ocean, so that's off the coast. So if they're in the ocean, they normally won't do any damage unless it's a tsunami or an underwater slide or something like that. Here's a 4.6 near Yamata, Japan at 5:22 this afternoon. Now coming on up. Okay, so that's all the international ones. Well, this one is Russia, 4.4 near Nikolskoye, Russia at 9:02 this morning. So that's on that red line at the far end of the Aleutian Islands. Now looking at Alaska, they've had quite a bit of activity here today. They've had 7 earthquakes that were 2.5 magnitude and higher. So I'm just going to call those off. Here's the 3.3 near Old Iliamna. Here's a 2.6 near Valdez, 2.9 near Big Lake. That's in the Anchorage area. 2.9 near Kodiak, 4.2. That's getting up there near Kodiak, 3.2 near Talkeetna, and a 4.0 just came in at Cantwell, near Cantwell at 6:02 this afternoon, 5 kilometers deep. So let's see how many of these were under 2.5 magnitude. So we got 58 on the map, all magnitudes for Alaska. So the number of earthquakes are calming down in Alaska, but we had some larger ones here today with these 4s, definitely. Let's see what's going on at Kobuk. This is calming down. We've got 8 here today, and they're all, except for this 2.2, the rest of them are like mid ones range. Still having them at the surface, a lot of them at 0 or very shallow kilometer depth. And then some a little deeper, like this last one, this 1.4 was a 5.3 kilometer depth, and this one came in at 4:56 this afternoon. So that's calmed down. Let's see what's going on up here at Koktovik. There's a 2.0 and a 1.8 at 0 depth, so very shallow again. They've got a lot of permafrost melting up there, as you saw. I read the headlines of that article, and you know, that could be causing earthquakes as that permafrost melts and it's not as heavy, or maybe it's heavier, I don't know, but it's shifting and moving, and it's changing the distribution of the weight on the tectonic plate. Then it can cause earthquakes, and it will cause earthquakes. There's that 3.3. So it's really calming down in that Cook Strait, calming down at Anchorage. Just have a few here today. 12 on the map here today. 18 when I zoom out with one click there. So let's move on down into the lower 48. We're not seeing anything on this east side of the United States. Let's see what this is. New Mexico. This is a 2.9 near Cimarron, New Mexico, that happened at 5:05 this afternoon, 5 kilometers deep. Now we've seen them coming in around this area. Here's the San Luis Valley that moves on down into northern New Mexico. So we've seen them around in this area, and these are mountains here, so that is an active area. It's on the edge of the North American Craton. Now we've got a cluster here at Farron all piled up. Farron, Utah. We've got 8 here today, and it looks like they're pretty small. The largest one is this 2.1. The rest are mid ones range, and none of them are at a negative depth. So there's Utah today. Nothing up here at Salt Lake City. Let's see, Soda Springs, Idaho. Remember we saw that cluster there yesterday. They had another one last night, a 2.1 at 9:16 p.m. at a minus 0.1 kilometer depth, but nothing since then today. Coming on up into Yellowstone, we're seeing 4 on the map here today. Here's a quarry blast that made a 1.9 magnitude earthquake near Butte, Montana, right here. This happened at 12:03 this afternoon at a minus 2 kilometers depth. They're blasting at exactly the same place at the same time every day. Every day this week, or whenever it is that they blast, it's always at 12:03, and it's always at a minus 2 kilometer depth. And a 1.9 is not a nothing earthquake. That could be a 2.0. That's a pretty serious blast. So they're blasting the crap out of that quarry over there. We had 2 near Manhattan, Montana. We had a 0.6 and a 1.5 and a 1.6 near Lincoln, Montana. I think that's it. Yeah, there's the Lincoln. Now moving on over into the Pacific Northwest. Before we look at the earthquakes, let's look at our real-time tremor map I have pulled up. For the last 24 hours, we have 5.2 hours of tremors. And so we can see, I'm going to zoom out on this. We can see the cluster is up here just north of Portland, Oregon. It's up here in this Grants Pass area. Mount St. Helens is a little to the east of where this cluster is. I looked it up on Google Earth the other day just to see where all of these were. And in California, we We'd been seeing this cluster near Reading, but now we're seeing a cluster right down here, a little bit southwest of that. And then we're seeing some tremors up here in this Vancouver, in this bay area between Seattle and Vancouver, and a few tremors around. So that's what our tremor map is saying in the last 24 hours. And first we're going to start with this 2.1 magnitude explosion near Princeton, Canada at 10:42 this morning at a minus 0.2 kilometer depth. So that's a pretty good explosion. And now we have this cluster right here, and here's one on this island, and then the rest of them are in the water. I don't know the name of this island, but for people who live up here, the reporting station is Friday Harbor, Washington. Friday Harbor's right down here. That's the reporting station. So we've got 12 here. And we've got some good sized ones. We've got, I'll just call them off. We normally don't even see them here. 1.7. Now this started today at 10:39 this morning. Now what time was that other earthquake? 10 something. The 2.1 explosion, what time was that? I forgot. 10:42. Okay, so before the explosion, we had, well, 3 minutes, well, really about 2 minutes before the explosion was a 1.7 in the water, and then at 12:43, so a couple of hours after the explosion, that was not very far away, there was a 1.4. Then 3 minutes later at 12:49 was a 1.6. 3 minutes later at 12:52 was a 2.2. 1 minute later at 12:53 was a 1.2. And then at about 8 minutes, 8 minutes later at 1:01 was a 1.3. They're all in the same area. And then at 1:04, 3 minutes later, was a 2.5. And then at 1:48 was a 1.6. 2:44 was a 1.6. And 2 minutes later at 2:48 was a 1.5. And then a little over an hour later at 3:58 was a 2.1. And then at 4:01 was a 0.2. And that was the last one. And that one was on land. So don't tell me that these explosions don't cause earthquakes. Because when you have a 2.1 magnitude explosion, that's like an atomic bomb test. Seriously. That's huge. That's huge for an explosion. And that was, how deep? Minus 0.2. So it was pretty, it was up in the, on the side of a mountain. So, anyway. Next, that's all we got in, anyway, up there. Here's a 1.2 near Carson, Washington at 8:57. Then coming on down into Oregon was a small one, a 0.6 near La Pine at a minus 1.2 kilometer depth. So that earthquake was up in the side of the mountain. Oh, hey, it's a volcano. Newberry Crater, Central Pumice Cone, East Lake, Paulina Lake. So this is a volcano, and it was up in the volcano, or in the side of the volcano, the crater, at a minus 1.2 kilometer depth. See? Right there. Newberry National Volcanic Monument. We can even go look at it on Google Earth if you want. I don't do this very often, but it's fun to do when I have time. There's the Newberry volcano. Here's the crater. Let's go over here. So it was, looks like it's an edge of, it's another crater. This looks like another crater and another side of it. So it's a minus 1.2 kilometer. So it was up in the side of that crater. I don't know what this is. Oh, Obsidian Crater Center. Look at this. This is all volcanic here. Here's a road right through it. Here's the Newberry volcano. Well, there are trees growing in there. I guess it's dormant. It's a large volcano, it looks like. Large crater. And it's got these lakes around it. East Lake and then Paulina Lake. And so here's another crater. And here's another crater here. And so it's, maybe some of this stuff is coming back to life. Looks like not much is going on if there's a bunch of trees growing in it. It's beautiful. In fact, it looks like the whole area is like one big crater, and maybe the lakes were filling up craters. That's how Lake Tahoe is. That's an old volcano. Paulina Peak. So, there's that. I mean, it wasn't very big. Only a 0.6. But it's showing movement. Now coming on down into Northern California. We're clear on the west side. What have we got over here? We've got a 1.1 at Chester. And Chester, here's Chico, remember, and Oroville's down here. Paradise. So Chester is up here. There's Quincy. I'm getting lost. There's Chester. This is I think that's Lake Almanor. Yep. So it's to the west of Lake Almanor 1.1. Remember, this whole area is volcano. Old volcanoes. Here's Lassen Peak. That's an old volcano. So anytime you're seeing movement in volcano territory, volcano country, it's a sign things are happening. Then there was a 0.5 near Cold Springs, Nevada. And that's about it in the Reno area. Nothing in Carson City. Oh man, look how quiet it is here today. That's kind of spooky. You know, when I say that's kind of spooky, it means that something is building. Something is building, because normally we see something. Okay, here's something to the west of Ely, a 1.9 magnitude explosion near Ely, Nevada. At the surface, 0 kilometers depth at 1:21 this afternoon. So they're blowing stuff up on the surface. What's going on down here? Here's a 1.1 near Yerington. Now we saw one there recently. Now let's come to this little cluster. Hawthorne has got 6 today. They're 1s and under. Let's come on down to southern Nevada. We've got a few, well, we've got a little cluster over here in southern Nevada, and that's above the underground facilities for the old nuclear test site and Area 51 and, you know, all that. We're showing 15 here today, including this cluster. These are over by Alamo. Here's a larger one, a 1.2 near Warm Springs. Alright, now let's come on down this east side of California here, up by Mono Lake. We've got a couple here. We've got a 0.9 at Bridgeport and a 1.3 near Bodie. Coming on down. Wish it wouldn't do that. I still have not resolved my mouse problem. We've got, okay, Mammoth Lakes 1.1, 0.9, and 1.0. I have not resolved my mouse problem. It's improved, but I'm not done working on it. Then at Long Valley, we've got 7 here today. These are small, and none of them are at negative depth. The largest one is this 1.4 near Round Valley, and the others are over here. Here's a 1.2 near Lone Pine. That's a really pretty place. It is really pretty, Lone Pine. Here at Coso Junction we have 5. We had a 2.1. That's a pretty big one for this area. That one came in at 7:36 this morning, and the rest are under that. Then we've got a 0.8 near Wofford Heights and a 1.7 near Bodfish. Okay, we got those. Now let's go into Southern California. Here off the coast of Baja, we have a 2.5 off the coast of Rosarita at 12:15 this afternoon. So counting that, Southern California is showing 29 for all magnitudes in the last 24 hours. That's not a large amount. Let's see what's 2.5 magnitude and higher. Okay, we saw that 2.5. Here was one at Parkfield and one 3.1 at the geysers. Oh, well, we'll get to that in a second. So down here at Salton Sea, we've got 3. Or maybe, no, yeah, we've got 3. 1.7. They're calling it near Nyland. 1.4. 1.0. So those are not very big, but they're big enough to show movement. And now we're just seeing them peppered around here. So let me just scroll through. Looks like Kauai is picking back up a little bit. Here's Kauai. It's not very many right there. 8 right there. It comes and goes there. You never know how many there are going to be. What's this one? There's a 1.4 near Big Bear Lake. 1.2 Little Creek. 1.2 magnitude quarry blast near Azusa. Let's see if there are any more quarry blasts. I'm gonna look up blast, and then it'll highlight all of them. We saw that one, Azusa. No, that's the only blast down here today. What's this one? Oh, that's the 1.7 at Bodfish. Okay, now let's move on up this red line, which is the San Andreas Fault. We've got a 3.5 at Parkfield at 10:52 this morning. That's a good size earthquake. That's getting on up there. And then a 2.1, not very far from it, at 3:28 this afternoon. There's a huge oil and drilling operation at Parkfield. I've looked at it on Google Earth. I've not done a show where I showed that, but it's humongous. I mean, just for miles. It's awful. Here's a 1.1 at Pinnacles. Here's a 2.2 near Aromas. This one is at a minus 0.1 kilometer depth at 9:11 this morning. And I was surprised when I started seeing all the pumping operations in California, and I thought it was mainly Texas and Oklahoma, but California has tons of oil well operations, oil and gas pumping all the way through the state. It's amazing. Here's a 0.7 at Alum Rock. Here's a 1.1 near Alum Rock. Now it's acting up. Okay, I showed that. Okay, we're clear in San Francisco. And now here are the geysers, and we're showing 31 today, and then here's the 3.1. This one happened at 3:22 this afternoon at a 0.8 kilometer depth, so not very deep. And this whole thing at the geysers is a geothermal pumping operation to provide hot water. They drilled into the volcano. If you want to see that, we can go there. It's almost an hour long. I'll show it to you. Let's see where this 3.1 actually happened. we'll go there if nobody has seen that. Dutch Sense has shown it, and I try to find a lot of the areas that he finds just to see what it looks like, just on this easy Google Earth thing, Google Earth app here, and it's amazing. So here's where the 3.1 earthquake happened. And here's the operation, not very far away. And here are the turbines. See how clear that is? What a clear image that is. There are all the turbines, and they drill into the side of the mountain, which is a volcano. And here's the electric plant. Oh. And it's up on the top of the mountain there. There's a road coming up to it. See? It's all set up. They've got pipelines, the whole 9 yards. Here's Cobb Mountain. So our earthquake was down here, a little ways from that geothermal operation. So there are lots and lots of earthquakes all around in here. So this is the geysers. There's Castle Rock Springs. Here's Cobb Mountain, Whispering Pines, Forest Lake. It's beautiful, but that's what they're doing over there. And that's causing these earthquakes, because when they drill into it, which it's already an old volcano, so it's already got weak points all the way through it, because it's already blasted. And then they're drilling into it, it creates more weak points. So whenever magma gets built up, it's going to come here. And it's the magma and the steam is what's doing the heating the water, or making the electricity. So there you have it. Just blows my mind. Everything we're doing to our mother just blows my mind. And for people who can't get past the data and finally get to the spiritual aspects of it, I just feel sorry for you, because everything is spiritual whether you realize it or not. Otherwise, what would our whole purpose be here? What would our purpose be? I mean, why would it matter that we're even here or not, especially now in these end times? Why would it even matter? So, I don't have much patience with atheists and people who are on the fence and, Buddhists and things. I mean, you're welcome to have your own viewpoint, but I just don't think it's gonna be a deep enough belief system to deal with what's coming up, because what's coming up is not good. And it's not just about abrupt climate change. It's not just about that. There's a lot of evil out there, and a lot of evil that's being unleashed. And if you can't feel it, I think you're just blind to it. You can't see it, you can't feel it, you're just blind to it. And I'm sorry, I can't help those people. So I'm going to sign off for today, and until next time, go in peace, God bless, and goodbye.